Welcome back to the channel, guys. Chris's Caribbean Delights. It's an eclectic cooking channel. So this dish is a spin-off from the black pudding, from our regular black pudding, white pudding. I'm making the rice. I'm making a vegetable yellow rice, which I'm going to use to stuff my casings. Usually the casings are stuffed with the blood rice. You add the blood to the rice, or just a plain white rice. But I'm going to make a yellow rice to go into the casings, and we're going to cook this the same way that we're cooking the white rice, the regular rice, with the coconut milk and everything. It's going to have that flavor. And we'll put a couple pieces of tripe in there with some salt, with some brisket. So this is just a spin-off. I had this idea for some time now, and I just wanted to play around with it. So I said, let me just go ahead and get this done. So I have in here tomatoes, onions, some basil, Guyanese basil, which we call marred man pork, tomato, and I'm going to add some shredded carrots in here. I'm going to let this saute and get soft before I put the rice in. So let's get the shredded carrots in. Here I have my rice is ready. I washed it until I can see the clear water and the clear rice. So I washed it about 4 or 5 times because I don't want that starch. So my rice is ready. So I shredded some carrots and I added into the vegetables. I'm going to let this all saute for a while. Give it a minute. I seasoned with some bouillon powder, some accent, some onion powder, and it has some garlic in there. So it's well seasoned. And I put some thyme, my salt element. So we let this go, and then we're going to add the rice in about a minute or so. So we will now add the rice. And that's acting as like a sofrito. Get all the rice in there. You just need to make sure that the rice is well coated with the infused oil, and all the vegetables are all mixed in with the rice. And as usual, I'm using a bijou. The bijou is my coloring agent. It's my coloring agent for my yellow rice. So I use about a tablespoon, depending on the amount of rice that you have, because I have like 3 cups of rice here. So I'm going to use, I just make sure I stir in that bijou, that coloring agent. And now we'll add some chicken broth. So I used maybe about a cup and a half of chicken broth, and I'm going to I need the liquid to be above the rice, so I can add some more chicken broth, or I can just add some water. I think I'll just add some water because a lot of flavor has gone in there, and chicken broth, I have low sodium, so that's good, but I'm going to add some water. I'm just adding enough water so that it can be just about 1 inch above the rice, and we can measure it with a spoon. But once you got a nice clean finger, the first knob on your finger, that's where the water should be at. So I touched the rice and it's not there yet, so I just have to add a few more, about a couple of cups of water to bring it up to that level. So I added a couple more cups of water, and there you go. I touched my rice and the water is up to the first knob on my finger, which is where I want it. Okay, so give this a stir, and we'll just let the heat do its thing. It's going to bring it to a boil, and once it comes to a boil, and it starts to boil and the water starts to evaporate, once I see the rice again, once I can see the rice again, I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it in the oven at 350 for about 20 minutes or 30 minutes until it dries out. So I'll just start my oven right now, and at 350, start the oven at 350, and once I can see the rice again, I'll just put it in the oven. I'll give it a stir and put it in the oven and to be finished. So let's cover the pot and let's let it go. So I almost forgot I wanted to add a few treats in there. I have some tripe here, which I pressured. They're softened already. Tripe and some beef brisket. So I just add this to the pot. I mean, this is totally optional. You can make it plain. You don't have to put any meat in there or anything. Or you can put a lot of meat, but not a lot of meat, because remember, you have to stuff the casings, so you don't want anything to punch the casings. So the meat has to be cut very small, and also make sure there are no bones in there, and it's cut very small and it's really soft. Yeah, so now we just cover this again, just let it go, and I'll be back. So as I said, once I can see the rice again, it goes into the oven for about 20 to 30 minutes until it's dried out and comes out really fluffy and nice. So right now it's ready for the oven. I'll just cover it, and the oven is ready. So I'll just pop it in there. Here we go, you're in the oven at 350 for about 20 minutes, and then we'll check. So after about 30 minutes, I checked it on 20 and it wasn't ready. After about 30 minutes, this is what we have: a nice fluffy, tasty, delicious rice with the lovely treats in there. The pieces of brisket, pieces of tripe, and stuff like that. Now, this has to be totally cool before we put it into the casings. So I'm going to leave this for a few hours. I'll probably just take it out into a foil pan, spread it out so that it can cool properly before I start putting it into the casings. So there we go. So this is the first part of your yellow pudding. Your yellow pudding, there's an off, what do you call it? A spring off. The spring off from the black pudding. Now you have a yellow pudding, and this is it has no blood. It's just gonna have coconut milk in it. So it's an offspring or a spring off from the black pudding, from the white pudding. It's awesome. So we'll just let this cool completely before we start. So now that the rice is cool, I'll just get in here. I have sprinkled some more green seasoning on here. I sprinkled some green seasoning and some mardman pork, cinnamon. I added some cinnamon and some nutmeg to give it a lovely warm flavor. So now I'll add maybe about a half a cup of coconut milk, and we'll make sure that we get all the lumps out of it, to take the lumps out. The coconut milk is going to help the rice to stay moist whilst we pipe it into the casings. So you just want to get all the green seasoning all mixed in, really mixed in there. So I'll continue with the mixing, and then I'll return when we start piping it into the casings. Well, we haven't spoken about casings. These are HOG casings that I'm going to use, and there's also the beef casings. The beef casings, these are larger. These are like 50 to 60 millimeters, and these are 32 to 38 millimeters. So this makes a larger sausage or a larger black pudding than this. But I'm going to be using the HOG casings right now, and here I have them soaking in some. They come really salted. So I usually would soak them in some vinegar and lime juice and vinegar, just to get any other impurities out of it. And then I'll turn them over, and I'll just clean them, run some water through them, and we'll be ready to go. So let me just go through the casings and examine them piece by piece. Every piece I'll examine and run some water through it, just to make sure that there's nothing clogging it or anything, and there are no large holes or anything. So we'll just go ahead and get that done. Well, you can find the opening is right here. Here's the opening. Okay, so we'll go through and run some water through it and get it cleaned up nicely, and I'll be back. Well, here we are, guys. I didn't want to bore you with filling the machine and putting the casings onto the tube. I'll just leave that link for the other video, my first video, how I did all that. I have that everything in detail over there. So I just decided to go ahead and to save some time, we'll just go ahead and pipe. So I have to refill. I'll just refill my my gun. You can either just take what you have here and just clip it. We'll just clip this off. No need to tie it, because once it goes into the hot water, you know we have to boil these for at least about 20 minutes or so to get the casing cooked. This is my container, and I use a spoon, or you can use your hand. Once you have clean hands, you can use your hand if it's more convenient. Attach your handle back to this. Just screw that back on here. Then we'll just continue. Get your casing. You have to pull the casing forward. Get at least an inch of the casing out, like that, before you start piping. And as you pipe, you just release the casing from the tube. As you can see, I already gave it a trial run, and I did 3 of them. And once you finish piping and putting the rice into the casings, use some oil, and you just oil them down just to keep them moist. Okay, so, and I'm going to leave the link for threading the casings onto the tube and filling the tube. I don't want to take up too much time with that, because it's on another video, and if you can, all the details are on there. So if you go to that, I'll leave the link for that video, and so you can check that out. So it comes off, you thread the casings onto the tube, and once you start piping, it releases the casings, takes the casings with it, and then you can adjust. You can squeeze down to whatever thickness you want, and complete the casings. Like how I'm filling this out. And this is the last of the casings that's coming off there. I can either leave it like this, or I can just use my hand, squeeze it down, and get it a little thicker. And what you do, you start from a little way down here, get it a little thicker. See, I want it a little thicker. Then you can bring some more rice down from the top. Yeah, so you can just continue doing that and you can get it thicker all the way down. So I'll continue doing that and I'll be back. Once you find the opening of the casings, you can just run it over the tube and just keep pulling the excess casings over the tube like that. Until you get enough on the tube and you can start piping. Okay, so I'll continue that. And this is the final stage where we boil them for about 20 to 25 minutes, so just to make sure that the casings are cooked. So once they've simmered for at least 20 minutes or so, you can take them out. And once you take them out, you put a coating of oil on top of it. You just take a brush and brush some oil on it so that it wouldn't get really crusty and break on you. So that would be the next move after getting them out of the boiling water. And before it's finished, when you know it's finished, it wouldn't be oozing anything. You take a toothpick and you just prick them, and just the bubble, you'll see some bubbles coming up. Just some bubbles coming up, and that's the air being let out. But there's no ooze of any of the coconut milk or anything that's coming out. So that means it's all cooked and it's set in there. So I'll be right back. Cheers. Bon appetit.